Meghan Markle's shocking humiliation in Geneva finally proves that she has just gone mad. I mean, this was the moment, Nancy Sidley pointed it out, this was the moment, the major defeat on her face when she realized that no one had bothered to show up for what was a catastrophic speech, a hypocritical speech, a speech which blows out of the water every single thing that she has argued in terms of her brand. But let's just start, before we get into it, with the total lack of numbers, the total lack of interest. Prince William's jaw pointed out she was assigned to a bus stop. Look at that. Look at in the red circle. So actually, the woman who everyone's saying is there to watch was actually just trying to get home. Meghan's mole pointed out that even the Sussex squaddies couldn't be bothered to go to Geneva to support Meghan Markle, and as J.E. May quite rightly added, take away the staff and media required to be there for work and you'll be left with the flagpole. And of course, this does raise a really interesting point. As Resting Dollface said, nobody's there, so why does Meghan Markle need security? There's a street with cars behind her, no crowds, people walking by, not caring. Nobody cares about what Meghan Markle had to say. She posts her own kids online. And New York Vicky, I think, really got the mood of this one right by suggesting that Meghan Markle is the antithesis of the icon that she thinks she is. She is the grandiose narcissist who displays of self-worship are now and always have been farcical. And she zoomed in on the faces of those watching. And Brittany Edison of the Royal News Network, who will be with us for extensive analysis of this car crash today, added, it didn't look like anyone was there, like at all. A fan of Meghan's even said she went and greeted everyone who came to watch, which was like 10 people. In a serious international city like Geneva, this flop lays bare how people care about Meghan and her nonsense, which is undermined by her decision to exploit her own children on social media for likes and engagement. And the timing of this, of course, could not be more mortifying when we compare Meghan's crowds to... I need you to do something for me right now. It is free, it is easy, it is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new videos. Crowds in Italy while I was away last week. And as Meghan's mole put it, ha, 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 ha. I mean, you don't need to comment. You don't need to comment, do you? Because you can see them right there. Now, we're going to do some detailed analysis of this speech, by the way, because it is nuts. And it is particularly nuts given what Meghan Markle has been doing over the past few days. But there's just one moment at the end, and I want you to watch closely here. She's touching her nose, touching her nose. And I don't know what it's about. I've got some idea of what it's about. And I just want you to... you to watch closely. Let's just give her the benefit of the doubt and think she's trying to do the one tear left eye. She's trying to get some emotion into the end of her speech. But it's curious. Look.
One day, generations from now, children will look back at this era with absolute disbelief that adults once allowed digital spaces to exist without basic protections for young people. But let's do something now so that they will also look back and see that during this increasingly polarized time, where people can barely agree on basic facts, that beyond politics or party lines, beyond demographics, incomes, or ideologies, beyond race or religion, we could all universally agree on one thing. We want our children to be safe. Let our children look back at this moment and let them feel proud of us, that we chose something better for them and for us all. Thank you.
No, I know you're probably just quite taken by the fact that she's there and there's the people and the cars and everything behind her. But what about the nose? If you missed it, just look again.
We want our children to be safe. Let our children look back at this moment.
Very intriguing. But look, let's come to the security implications. Nancy Sidley, the Sussex squad, is claiming the lack of crowds was due to security. They are saying the streets and sidewalks were closed off to build a perimeter around Meghan. But as she says, when you look at the video, there are people driving and walking by. There were also a lot of tourists taking pictures of the big chair behind Meghan. So actually, Nancy said you can sum up this faux humanitarian trip in one meme And there it is, her face as she realizes nobody's there for me, but they were all there for Catherine. And do you remember when Harry used to say the reason that the royal family was so threatened by Ms. Markle was because of the way she pulled the crowds? Now, of course, there is a reason why this speech was so disgusting. And I'm going to get into the details of it, by the way, because she is using the grieving parents again of young people who have taken their own lives while at the same time doing the exact thing she claims has led to these deaths. Did you see this over the weekend? Meghan posted Mama's Little Helper with the so-called daughter there, maybe shining her shoes, but very much part of the merch sheen operation, because at the front of the shot was the Armani dress and black shoes that Meghan would wear to the event. And Cher pointed out, I know for a fact, the lack of a crowd bothered Meghan Markle because she was so insecure, she just had to tell us what designer she would be wearing that day. Someone who cares about people knowing she's wearing designer, definitely. But according to Taz, went one step further, pointing out the cute photo of Mummy's Little Helper where she used Lily to ensure maximum exposure was just a cover for Meghan to merch the suit and the shoes she would be wearing for the speech. Hence why the shoes and her jacket were angled perfectly at the front. She is despicable. And while I was off, this wasn't the only time that Meghan decided to merch her children. She did it with the recycled Disneyland Instagram post. I guess she has no new pictures of her mum and Harry doing something positive, so she was prepared to use the children once more. Now, this speech in Geneva, and I've got to give you a little bit of context for this. She's doing this with the World Health Organization boss, Dr. Tedros. Now, Dr. Tedros, and I'm not going to go into it, I'm not going to bore you with it, okay? You can look at my other videos back in COVID days. Dr. Tedros is a very bad man, one of the worst men in the world. So the fact that he is really the only non-governmental organization boss prepared to lend his credibility and his organization's credibility to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry tells you something about Dr. Tedros, a completely corrupted figure in bed with terrible people. Harry and Meghan are just two of those terrible people. Trust me. I mean, this is a guy who is funded by the wrong people and has done terrible work. And his organization isn't really accountable to anyone. I mean, no politician would want the most unpopular woman in the world fronting one of their projects. So I just want to explain why the World Health Organization might want to. And the speech began with Meghan standing in front of that lost screen memorial with virtually no one behind her apart from those few passers-by. And she began by thanking Dr. Tedros.
Thank you for being here this evening. And thank you, Dr. Tedros, not simply for your leadership at the World Health Organization, but for your clarity in recognizing that this is not simply a technology issue. It is a public health issue, and a human one. Behind us stands the Lost Screen Memorial. Not statistics, not avatars, not data points, children. Each name belonged to a child who was loved beyond measure. A child whose laughter once filled a kitchen, whose shoes once waited by a front door, whose future once felt limitless. And now their faces ask the world questions we can no longer avoid. How many more millions of children will be harmed by products that, while innovative, are still designed without sufficient safeguards? And when will children be able to enjoy the extraordinary potential of technology without it compromising their well-being? For too long, we've accepted a dangerous bargain that modern connection must come at the cost of the innocence of childhood.
Sorry, I know it's a serious topic, but like there's the woman pushing the pram. She didn't even take a second glance. And now Dr. Tedros has posted today that he presented Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, with a World Health Organization field vest as a gesture of his regard for her commitment to promoting and protecting people's health. Seriously? These two are living in a parallel universe, a universe of delusion. And this is, again, another example of Meghan trying to cosplay Diana. I need you to do something for me right now. It is free, it is easy, it is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new videos, obviously. But she's done nothing for our health. Actually, she's probably been very bad for our mental health around the world, if we're honest, because she just annoys us all so much. Now, then they decided to both push this line because Dr. Tedros, we're not going to hear from him. He's too evil, trust me. They were both using this line comparing social media to defective toys and poisoned water. But defective toys and poisoned water has absolutely nothing to do with the World Health Organization, just like social media has absolutely nothing to do with the World Health Organization. This is a body that should be stopping pandemics instead of poncing around with this nonsense. Watch.
We did not tell parents to create their own seatbelts. We did not ask children to test unsafe medicine. We did not shrug at poisoned water or defective toys and call it the price of progress. We acted, and now the world must act again. Because children today are being shaped by systems designed to capture attention at absolutely any cost. Relentless algorithms, exploitative engagement, and endless exposure to harmful content that they are not seeking out.
I guess 4-year-old Lily didn't seek out her starring role in selling Meghan's outfit either, did she? But Meghan hadn't finished there. This is her pretending to know everything about AI.
Across lived experience, court cases, authoritative medical and media journals, and testimony from families, a clear and urgent picture is emerging. At the same time, advancing technologies such as AI are not just repeating past mistakes, they are accelerating and amplifying them. The risks are compounding. We are seeing new forms of harms emerge faster than our systems and ourselves are prepared to respond, affecting children at alarming scale and across borders. But these outcomes are not inevitable. And prevention begins with one simple principle. Children must be safe by design, not safe by chance. Because danger now travels globally, instantly, invisibly, and intimately. And our protections must do the same.
See, you know what she's doing there, right? She's talking about her own trolling, because that's what this is all about, mark my words. She wants a censored internet. Dr. Tedros was despicable when it came to censorship of big tech platforms during COVID, trying to shut down people like me telling the truth. And that is what Meghan wants. It is actually gross that she is using grieving parents in this way. But I can't take a word that she says seriously about children and online permissions, given the way that she merged her own daughter 24 hours before this speech.
Her voice and the voices of so many others remind us of what is at stake. Children are no longer just participants in digital spaces. They are too often the product. Because when they tick the box and they sign the terms and conditions, they don't realize that they may actually be signing away their life. Because the small print didn't spell out that it was going to prey upon their vulnerabilities and drive them to content they weren't looking for to keep them engaged for as long as possible. They didn't know that the platforms valued profit over people. And yet when we've seen this in other sectors, we did not accept it. We would never accept a food system that knowingly exposed children to harm. We should not accept a digital one either.
Profit over people. You're putting profit over the privacy of your own daughter. So just zip it. Zip it with your faux politician act. I'm laughing at this. Watch.
This moment demands more than concern. It demands courage. The courage to regulate where regulation is needed. The courage to demand transparency where secrecy has enabled harm. And the courage to say clearly and collectively, our children are not products. They are not experiments, and they are not expendable. The decisions made in places such as the World Health Assembly transcend far beyond these next few days. They ripple outward into schools, into homes, into hospitals, and into childhoods across the globe.
Meghan can't help herself, can she? She invoked again what she believes is online bullying against her and her fake suicide claims to Oprah Winfrey, which I repeat is what this is all real.
Ask ourselves, will we look back at this moment as one where through collective action, the design of technology shifted towards safety, dignity, and well-being? Or will we accept more names being added to memorials like this? Because if an adult is barely able to survive the bullying and predation of the online world and the dangers that these platforms bring, how is a child? Let this not only be a moment to reflect, as Dr. Tedros said, let it be a mandate for action. So speak up. Demand better from the platforms shaping our children's lives. Be an example in your own social media use of how to be intentional in every moment that you like, that you comment, that you post, that you share. Hold your community to the same standard. Support laws and leaders committed to child safety by design, transparency, and accountability online. Write to your elected officials. Ask what they are doing to protect children in digital spaces. And join the parents, campaigners, health experts, and young people around the world calling for global standards that put child well-being before algorithmic profit.
Sorry, I'm just obsessed with the two women standing behind her about to cross the road. And they don't even bother to wait. They don't even bother to wait to the end. Anyway, look, it's obviously ludicrous. The whole thing is ridiculous. And she's got to start realizing that her own actions are clashing. Even Tom Sykes, who was there, by the way, he was in Geneva for this speech, has been utterly scathing, asking how she does not see the problem in her hypocrisy, writing that this was a big moment for Meghan in her quest to portray herself as a serious player. And he went on to say that this is heavyweight stuff and Meghan should be laser focused on the opportunity it offers to her to represent herself as a serious person. And that is all fair. But he pointed out, literally hours before this vital event, Meghan chose to post a photograph of her 4-year-old daughter, Lilibet, on Instagram, watching her trying on outfits to her 4.5 million followers. Yes, a woman who was about to stand alongside the world's most senior public health official and talk about the measurable and preventable harms of exposing children to social media has just voluntarily, for no apparent reason other than self-promotion, exposed her own child to social media. The image itself is a mirror selfie taken inside a walk-in closet. Meghan is wearing a lilac coat. Lilibet, her red hair in a ponytail, crouches at her mother's feet in a red outfit back to camera, and a Marzini blazer hangs prominently on a rail to the right. In the mirror's reflection, dozens upon dozens of garments are visible, packed tightly on rails. It is, to put it mildly, quite a lot of stuff. I would estimate there is close to $250,000 worth of clothing visible in this single frame. I could be wrong. It could be more. It is a boastful image. It is a vain image. And given what she is doing at this event, it is a staggeringly tone-deaf image. Tom Sykes goes on, Geneva is a serious city full of serious people doing serious things, and you would assume that someone like Meghan turning up to champion children's digital safety would go down well with the generally woke technocratic vibe. But he has been talking to people all weekend, and the mood was mixed. The international aid community under enormous pressure, budgets being cut, jobs being lost, and he says he doesn't think an image of a duchess in a lilac designer coat in her palatial Montecito dressing room is going to help. He went on to say that at the center of Meghan's commercial operation now, increasingly, is Lilibet. The argument that Meghan doesn't show her face and therefore protects her privacy has become absurd. Not showing a child's face does not prevent that child from becoming a social media star. If anything, it manufactures a curiosity gap, the goal of which is that people become more interested, not less, in seeing her face. And Tom Sykes went on, and this was very interesting, actually. He said, Prince Archie, at 7, seems increasingly to be out of the picture. One might speculate that an older child may have started expressing reluctance about being photographed for the internet. But Lily at 4 does not have that capacity. A 4-year-old cannot meaningfully consent to having their image broadcast to millions of strangers. This is very close to the argument that Harry and Meghan themselves have been making. There is a version of reality in which Harry and Meghan could have been genuinely effective advocates for children's digital safety. But they have squandered every last drop of goodwill through precisely this kind of stunt. I have been told repeatedly by people who've worked with and around the Sussexes that they are essentially impossible to advise. They do what they want. And he describes the Instagram post as Exhibit A. Exhibit A. Because it is a devastating own goal. And Brittany agrees, arguing that Meghan Markle says social media companies exploit children for clicks and Meghan Markle, while at the same time admitting that she exploits her own children for social media clicks and money. Brittany adds she is a joke on this topic, and no one with active brain cells will ever take her seriously unless she lives by what she preaches, but she's too addicted to exploiting herself and her family for clicks and money to do anything else. The more she does this, the more a fool she looks, and yet she remains oblivious to her own hypocrisy. Brittany adds the best way for children to not get sucked into the social media and internet vortex is active parenting. Too often, there are parents who let a phone parent their child. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone when that goes south. In my opinion, it's so obvious that Meghan is exploiting the grief of parents to promote her own agenda. After all, if she actually cared on this topic, she wouldn't post her children and exploit them online. But she does. And so this is a pointless and shallow venture that only the gullible believe. And Brittany is with me now. To do something for me right now. It is free, it is easy, it is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way backing no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our news. You can look at this Brittany as sort of absurd and sublime and ridiculous. I mean, the fact that she's literally standing in the middle of these empty streets and no one even gives a damn really does tell you something about the way that the public feel about this woman. And then you get to the content, which just goes completely against her own social media use, let alone the fact that the bloke behind all of this is Dr. Tedros, a very, very bad man. Where do we start, Brittany?
I don't know, Dan. The optics on this are just horrifically awful on every single level. Meghan Markle just doesn't seem to understand that. If she's going to stand on this issue of internet safety, the first and foremost place that you must see this is on Meghan Markle's own Instagram page, which she refuses to do. She's trying to monetize everything, and it's impossible not to believe that Meghan Markle knows that posting her children generally gives her a bit more engagement. And so she does post her kids to get that additional engagement, to get that additional talking in the internet, in the ecosphere about her. So she is completely and utterly exploiting her children, who cannot consent, by the way, to the online machine. And particularly, she cannot also not be aware. So she is fully aware of how people discuss and talk about her children. And if she's so concerned with their safety, so concerned with protecting them, why doesn't she just simply not post them at all? People dissect her children. They make all sorts of comments. And I would say some of them are rather inappropriate, but Meghan continues to feed it, and that is disgusting. She is her children's greatest protector, and she serves them up to the internet, I think, on a silver platter, because she herself is addicted to social media. She loves social media. She loves the internet, but the internet is not as nice to her as she wants it to be. And so her goal is to change the internet to better suit Meghan Markle and nobody else.
100%, 100%. But Brittany, the other fascinating thing about all of this is that actually maybe deep down Meghan realizes people don't care about her anymore. They don't engage with her anymore. The thing they do care about is her daughter. And I want to present to you an example of this. Good Morning America, the morning show. Meghan really cares about the American morning show. I know that she always has. This is their report today. Brittany, not a word about the speech in Geneva. Instead, a post on the main ABC News account linking to a Good Morning America story, headlined, Meghan Markle is giving fans another rare look at life with daughter Princess Lilibet. So in some ways, Brittany, maybe it's because she has just accepted this reality, but she can't give up on the humanitarian dream at the same time. She thinks she can do both.
Well, I mean, Meghan's trying to do 12 things right now, and nothing is really working. But the reality is, Meghan Markle is a middle-aged woman. And at some point, you just kind of fall off the attention span, and the next generation takes over. And Meghan Markle is already seeing a little bit of that, and I'm sure she's rather frustrated by that, because the reality is Meghan Markle is not a particularly compelling person. We analyzed her because of the ambulance mentality, the car crash mentality. We've seen this wreck she's made of her life, and that is why people follow and, let's say, engage with her. They don't engage in a positive way, and the money generated definitely is not the way Meghan Markle wants it to be, but she is completely and utterly irrelevant on this topic given how she lives her own life. But she's so desperate for validation. She's so desperate to be taken seriously. And I'm sure this event is a pay to play. Harry and Meghan pay their PR company oodles and oodles of money to try to promote them to these things. So she probably wasn't invited. She asked to attend this, like she asks to attend most things, because people aren't inviting her. And the thing is, that's a shallow enterprise. At some point, people are just not going to care. And we see this reflected here because this is not a movement, because nobody takes her seriously. Nobody showed up. Nobody cared enough to be there. And if Meghan and Harry actually stood for something and it could actually grow something organically, they might get a stronger reaction. And one other quick thing is that when you are a royal, it is your connection to the crown. That is what makes you shine in the international ecosphere. It's not necessarily you yourself, which Prince Philip rightly pointed out. It's the crown. It's the crown that's the star. And when you leave that crown, a lot of its power and shine goes with you.
And we saw that
back to the ground.
We saw that on the streets of Geneva, a humiliating backdrop. You know, seriously, Brittany, you could have put Charlie XCX there. Okay. You could have put Justin Bieber there, Katy Perry, like just a big celebrity, a big A-list celebrity. I promise you, Brittany, I know how these things work. There would have been tens of thousands of people there within minutes, because that's how word spreads. And that's why celebrities don't tend to make those type of unannounced appearances. They needn't have worried when it came to Meghan Markle. They didn't need all the barriers. Just a total humiliation. Look, Brittany, the humiliation continues, though, on another level, though. Harry and Meghan have just been banned from a big royal wedding. So we're going to get into that as the Royal Uncancelled after show continues over on Substack. I need you to do something for me right now. It is free. It is easy. It is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new videos.